In a remote African village, where the sun scorched the earth and the winds carried the scent of dry savanna grass, Zuberi was born. His arrival brought joy and trepidation in equal measure. His skin was a striking white. His hair shone like threads of gold, and his eyes reflected a sensitivity to light that no one in the village had seen before. "He's a child of the spirits," an elder whispered. "He could bring blessings or ruin." Adamu and Jabari, Zuberi's parents, chose to embrace their son with love, ignoring the whispers. Yet, deep inside, they knew his life would not be easy. Villagers, steeped in tradition, feared what they didn't understand. "He's ours," Adamu told her husband one evening, holding the baby close. "No matter what, we will protect him." Zuberi's early years were spent in the safety of their small home. His parents ensured he was shielded from the villagers' judgmental stares. But as he grew older, they couldn't hide him forever. By the time he turned 5, he began to notice how different he was. The other children played in the bright sun, running and laughing, while Zuberi stayed in the shade, his delicate skin unable to bear the harsh rays. One afternoon, while sitting alone under a tree, he watched a group of children chasing a ball. Gathering his courage, he approached them. Before he could say a word, one of the boys threw a rock at him. "Go away, ghost!" the boy shouted, laughing. Zuberi froze, tears welling in his eyes, and ran home. That night, he asked his mother, "Why am I not like the others? Why can't I play with them?" Adamu hugged him tightly. "You are different, Zuberi, but that makes you special," she said softly. "One day, they'll see." When Zuberi turned 7, it was time for him to attend school. He hoped it would be a chance to make friends, but the first day proved otherwise. His classmates avoided him, calling him names like Spirit Child and Cursed One. Even the teacher seemed uncomfortable, placing him at a desk far from the others. One afternoon, during recess, a group of kids pushed him to the ground. "You don't belong here," one sneered. Zuberi didn't fight back. He picked himself up, dusted off his clothes, and walked away. Over the years, Zuberi learned to endure the loneliness. He spent most of his time with his grandmother, who told him stories of their ancestors. "Our people have always faced challenges," she said one night as they sat by the fire. "But it's the ones who rise above them who are remembered." These words stayed with Zuberi, though he struggled to believe them. When Zuberi was 10, the annual village festival brought everyone together for music, dancing, and games. While the children participated in races and contests, Zuberi stayed on the sidelines, watching. Suddenly, a boy slipped near the riverbank and fell into the water. The current was strong, and the boy's cries for help filled the air. No one moved, frozen in shock, except Zuberi. Without hesitation, he ran to the river and dove in. The cold water stung his skin, but he swam with all his might and pulled the boy to safety. The villagers were stunned. For the first time, they saw Zuberi as something other than an outcast. The boy's mother wept as she thanked him. "You saved my son," she said, embracing him. But while some attitudes began to shift, others remained unchanged. "He's still different," a man muttered. Zuberi heard him but chose to stay silent. A few years later, the village faced a crisis. A drought had dried up the fields, and the villagers were desperate. "This is because of that cursed child," an elder exclaimed, pointing at Zuberi. His father, Jabari, stepped forward. "If you dare blame my son again, you'll answer to me," he shouted. Yet Zuberi felt the weight of the accusation. That night, as he sat by the river, he thought about his grandmother's stories. "Challenges shape the strongest spirits," she had said. Walking along the riverbank, Zuberi noticed a narrow channel that had dried up. He realized that if they could redirect the water, it might save the crops. He shared his idea with the villagers, but they dismissed him. "What does he know?" they scoffed. Only Naya, a kind girl who had always been his friend, believed him. "Let's try," she urged. With Naya's help, Zuberi began digging, using simple tools to carve a new path for the water. Days turned into weeks as they worked tirelessly. A few villagers eventually joined, inspired by their determination. When the water finally flowed into the fields, the villagers erupted in cheers. Zuberi, the boy they once shunned, had saved their village. That evening, his grandmother looked at him with pride. "You see, Zuberi," she said, "even the brightest light comes from the darkest places." Zuberi smiled, finally understanding the truth of her words. His differences were not a curse, they were his greatest strength.